it's nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you.
And we get to talk about Paper Towns. You know, my first reaction, and I know that I mentioned to you last night, this is the perfect cast. I don't know, and I kept talking about that last night, you know, thinking about the film. I was like, I don't think you could have gotten a better cast.
Thanks, man.
Did you all know each other before this, or?
No, it was one of those magical things. I feel like on a movie set, you end up loving everyone or hating everyone. It's like this weird, because it's so intimate, and this cast really became like a family. I mean, I've been, Justice moved in with me in New York after we finished because he didn't have a place, and like Halston and I and Cara and Austin and Jazz have all stayed so close. I mean, it's one of those weird times where creatively everyone was in it for the right reason, and personally everyone just seemed to really like each other. You know?
Well, the reason I asked that too is because it's so critical to the story. They're friends,
friendship,
and they really are. You
Yeah,
must be really happy about that.
Yeah, I'm so grateful because the chemistry in the movie was going to make or break it, and I think the chemistry that you see on screen, the way that the friends interact with each other, the way they interact with Halston and Cara, like all of that was real. I mean, these are people who really, really care about each other, and not just on the movie set, but they're still really close friends. And I just felt really lucky to be kind of witness to that. But it was also, it just made this process of having my book come to visual life so special for me because, for me, they've become those characters, and I just feel so lucky.
John, I got to ask you the inspiration for Paper Towns because it's so creative. I mean, it really is. I mean, the story is just, I'm sorry, I haven't read the book.
That's all right. No worries.
But I'm going to now
No worries.
I'm intrigued by it. But, I got to see it on the big screen last night, and this story is just so fascinating. Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, a lot of it came from the way that I was in high school, and my friends from high school, but also the way that when I was a teenager, I kind of thought that I was doing girls a favor by putting them on a pedestal or thinking of them as miracles, and I wasn't, of course. That's a different way of dehumanizing people, and I think that's a lot of what Q has to learn in the movie, but it's also a lot of what I had to learn in high school.
What is it like for you you've had great success with your books. Congratulations on that. What's it like for you to see them come to life on the big screen?
It's amazing. I mean, it's very rare that authors like the movie adaptations of their books, to be honest. I have a lot of friends who've had movies made and haven't had good experiences. But I've had two wonderful experiences, and I'm so proud of this movie, and I think, I didn't make it, so I feel like I can enjoy it. And the cast is just so great, and the crew worked so hard, and the director, Jake Schreier, is a dear friend of mine, and I think just made an amazing movie, and I just feel...
We had a lot of good stuff to work with.
Oh, thanks. That's nice, but I do feel really lucky because it could have all gone south, but I had these guys. I knew it would be fine because Nat was in it, but...
What does the story mean to you both personally? Because there's so many elements you can pull from this. I mean, obviously the friendship, backstory, but I'm just curious to know what you guys took away from it.
Well, when I first read the book, I immediately related to Lacey and just how she feels misunderstood and how she wants people to see her for more than just the way she looks. And it's true for all of the characters. They all are really complicated people, and they're real. And that's what I think is so attractive about John's stories and what he writes, is because it's not what you're used to seeing in the movies. It's just like a little piece of real life.
Yeah, and for me, I felt like I related to Quentin and to Margo and to the two friends, and there was little parts of me that I felt like were all those guys. And going, into playing Quentin, a lot of it, I felt like I was going back in a time machine because I think I grew up a little quicker than Quentin did, and it's just listening to a lot of music that I listened to at that age when I felt like that character, and I think I projected my idea of what I wanted onto a girl as opposed to really listening to them and getting to know them at a certain age. And I had two best friends I spent all my time with, and it was honestly, it was a really great, experience for me as a person. By the end of the movie, I kind of wanted to live in Paper Towns world. I didn't want to go back to the real world.
I still do.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to move to a Paper Town. When I saw it, I was like, that's so clever. That's creative. I want to go on a road trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Talk about the name Paper Towns.
Yeah, so there's this weird phenomenon in map making. Map makers put fake towns on their maps, and they do this so that if they see that same fake town on someone else's map, they know that their map has been stolen. Google Maps does this, Apple Maps does it, everybody still does it, but it's been happening for centuries. And I just thought it was a really interesting way into thinking about how important the way we imagine the world and other people really is. Because the way we imagine the world, the way we imagine our stories, the way we imagine people, that ends up shaping real life and the real world. And so Paper Towns for me was a way of thinking about that idea.
Why Orlando? Because I'm a Disney freak. I've got Mickey on my leg right here. So
Really?
when I saw,
That's real.
That's hardcore.
Just show you, see,
Oh,
Oh, that's
wow.
hard. That's hardcore.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
usually-
cool.
Mom and I usually go around. That's the first time I've ever done that, by the way. But at a junket interview. But we usually go to Orlando every December. We've done that for years. I love
Yeah.
that city.
Yeah.
It's such a great city. So when I saw it was taking place in Orlando, I was like, whoa, this is cool. Why Orlando?
I grew up in Orlando and I know it well, so I think that's a lot of the reason I set the story in Orlando. But also because, I think it is a place that kids who grow up there feel like they're stuck in a place that everyone else is just visiting. So people are always coming and going, and I would always look at the airplanes when I was growing up, and there's so many airplanes flying over my house, and I would just be like, all of those people are going to a place that is like more real than this place. So I always felt a little bit like my hometown was fake. Now it turns out that Orlando's a great city full of great people, but I think all teenagers kind of have mixed relationships with their hometowns.
That's true. I bet I was on one of those airplanes waving at you. What would be your ultimate road trip?
I probably wouldn't be driving because I got a license about 3 days before we started filming Paper Towns, just
But-
so I could drive in the movie.
I think we would actually probably all go to the exact same place.
1, 2, 3.
Grand
Canyon.
Yeah, we all want to go on a road
Did
trip
you
to the
see
Grand
that?
Canyon.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
We've never said that before.
No,
We've
we're
never
on-
even.
Dude, it's a day
thought
of
that.
first, for real.
Yeah. What if you just
Like,
pulled out?
show
What if
the
you pulled out
Mickey
and
show
made a
the
Grand Canyon on your
just
chest?
Grand
Crazy
Canyon.
You
going
have the
on.
Grand Canyon on your chest. Yeah. Every interview question, you have a new tattoo to show us. Yeah.
Hey, that's a great idea. I could get a card to the hotel here in a minute. We can just go to the Grand Canyon this afternoon.
Let's hit it.
Oh, that would be
Okay.
We all
awesome.
get Best Grandma Eva t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you guys pull on, you kind of answered this earlier, but I want to ask you this, pull on any personal, stories growing up, relationships, acting this film out?
Even just reading the book, a lot of things that John had written were actually like words and thoughts that I'd had. So it just, yeah, you just relate. It's real. It felt very real for me.
I asked Jennifer Aniston that same question about a film. She goes, I'm not going to answer that.
She did?
No, about personal stuff and things like that. It was kind of funny. All right, final question for you, and I have to bring this up. You had such great success with social media and
What movie was it?
sex tape, I think. Or no, what was it? Oh, it was Horrible Bosses. It was Horrible Bosses, yeah.
That's
Just-
what
Oh, that's
Hilarious
funny.
thing.
But
It was.
that's actually funny.
I know why she wouldn't tell
Yeah,
us about
I
it.
did
Yeah,
too.
I know. And then
Yeah.
after I asked the question,
That's
I was
actually a good answer.
so we ran that because
Yeah, it's a good answer.
I got to get this in there because your social media, skills. I mean, you really connect with your audience so well.
Yeah.
Where did all that come from?
I mean, I grew up using the internet, and I feel really lucky that we live in a time when the conversation about a book can continue off the page, and I also just really like talking with people about stuff that matters to me, and the internet's a great way to be part of that conversation. So I really love it.